Hey everyone, the name is Eric Thorne. In today's video, we're talking about the loneliness crisis and how nurturing a more positive and healthy relationship to extroverted feeling can help you connect and build stronger and deeper friendships. We live in an era of authenticity where everyone is about themselves, which means everyone is about their own feelings and their own needs and creating a life where they're free to live and be for themselves. This is something we have created throughout modern society. We have given ourselves, through technological advancement, innovation, and financial resources, the capacity to be a little bit more selfish, a little bit more interested in ourselves, a little bit more permissive of our own feelings and needs. We no longer have to compromise ourselves and our own personal authenticity needs in order to, for example, meet financial demands and requirements from our boss and from our society, right? We have created an opportunity for people to be self-absorbed. But because we've created this society, we've also, to some extent, made it harder to connect with other people. Because the more authentic we become and the more attuned we become to our own needs, the more we become attuned to the feeling, this realization that other people don't give us permission to be ourselves, right? And that's why it's so hard to build friendships today. And that's why people feel so lonely. Because it's not that they don't have people around them. I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet. But it's because we find that the people we go and talk to are often self-absorbed and selfish and self-inclined and too sensitive and too focused on their own needs to let in and open up to connect with another person, right? And what I've found is extroverted feeling is the answer to many of these problems, because how do we foster a state of mutual connection and friendship with another person while giving ourselves the freedom to be selfish and authentic and to prioritize our own personal needs, right? Because perhaps you find yourself in a situation where you're constantly focused on other people. You keep asking questions, you keep helping out, you keep supporting and listening to other people, but find that other people don't ask you anything, find that people don't give you anything, find that people never really are truly there for you, right? And so you wonder, why is that? Am I unlovable? Am I not interesting enough? Is there something wrong with me that makes people not want to give me any attention, to give me any space, to give me any of my needs, right? And how do you deal with that? How do you answer those questions? How do you deal with those kind of dilemmas? Well, there are two things I've found to be quite helpful. The first is a practice we found and created through Buddhism. And the Buddha was big on this unique form of meditation and contemplation called metta, love and kindness. So what's happening is when we engage in metta, what we're doing is we are focusing to be mindful, right? But not just generally mindful, not just present, not just in our body, not just in our hands, not just in our expressions and in what we are currently doing, right? But we're supposed to learn to experience this feeling of gratitude and connection and warmth that only happens when we allow ourselves to feel grateful for what's happening around us, to feel a sense of awe over the beauty of nature, right? Or a sense of amazement over the beauty of somebody else, or their eyes, or their warmth in their face, or to be impressed by somebody who has shown some kind of strength, or to be grateful for somebody that has done something or has been there, right? Now, the purpose of metta meditations and contemplation is to just keep yourself grounded in this and keep yourself paying attention to and noticing and feeling grateful for the small things that people do, right? Because the truth is, any minute that another person gives us, any thought that another person gives us, any text message they send us, anything that they do is because they thought of us and they wanted to talk to us and they wanted to hear our voice and they wanted to feel connected to us, right? And so they're creating a space, an opportunity for something. And here, there's something we need to feel very, very grateful for, right? Like something that we should feel very, very happy about, and something that is in its nature beautiful and cute and ultimately extremely sweet, right? The reason why metta meditations are so important is because they help us develop a more positive relationship to extroverted feeling. Because when extroverted feeling is not well developed, what tends to be the case is we tend to be deeply critical and resentful of other people. We feel annoyed by everyone around us. We feel people are ultimately evil, selfish, bad. We feel judgments towards other people. We feel upset with those people and those groups and those kinds of people. And we harbor all these kinds of negative resentments and annoyances. And we feel this all the time. We feel constantly annoyed, even by our loved ones. We feel they're so annoying. They talk about the same things over and over. They do these and these things that we don't like. And they have these and these qualities that we find difficult, right? And ultimately what this feeling, what this thought and this thought stream does is it makes us feel more disconnected from other people, right? What we're doing here is we're getting out of this black and white mindset where people are either good or bad, and we are good and everyone else is bad, right? And what we're doing is we're learning to see nuances, because if we live in a world where everyone's ultimately selfish, there's no point to talk to any single person. But if we live in a world where everyone has the capacity for goodness, not that they are ultimately good, but that they have the capacity for goodness, then every single person becomes an opportunity, and there's a way to find and to create space for this goodness in every single person. And the question is, how do we bring this to life, and how do we create this space, and what are these things that we want to experience and feel when we talk to other people? The second thing I want you to do to foster a stronger relationship to extroverted feeling, to interpersonal relationships, to friends, to family, to loved ones, to people that you care about, is I want you to allow and create this foundation of mutual selfishness, right? Now, a lot of people hold judgments towards being selfish, which is, you see everyone else as selfish, right? And self-absorbed, and you see them as too focused on themselves. And so you feel like you don't want to be that way, right? So you feel and you make an effort to be self-sacrificing, compassionate, and good towards other people, right? Wrong. This is not often the right way to go about it. What I say is, instead of creating this world where you're the good person, the compassionate person, the person always showing love and kindness and respect to other people, and where everyone else is always taking from you, trying to get things from you, trying to manipulate you, trying to use you, right? What I want you to imagine is that you too are a selfish person. Ultimately, you have your own needs, you have your own feelings, you have your own values, your own thoughts, your own things that you want to experience and achieve, right? And you are allowed to have these things, just as every single person is allowed to be selfish, allowed to focus on themselves, is allowed to voice their own needs, right? You too are allowed to do these things. And if you can create this space of mutual selfishness, you can build a relationship of true friendship. How do I mean this? Well, first of all, what I find most beautiful about friendships is this foundation of mutual selfishness, right? Because when you're with a friend, they can be themselves 100%. And when you are with a friend, you can be yourself 100%, right? So that's what's happening. We created this kind of invisible agreement where it's like, you're allowed to do this, and I'm allowed to do this. And if you don't judge what I do, I'm not going to judge what you do, right? But now imagine you're starting to judge that other person. You're starting to feel like, I don't like this and I don't like that, and this is annoying, and that person should be more like this and they should do that. Well, imagine also the reason why you're doing that, because there is a mirror, there's a reason why you have those feelings. There's a reason why you're starting to put these judgments on other people. And often the reason is rooted in the face that you feel that you are and have to compromise a lot of things to be around this person. You feel that you have to compromise your own needs for example, punctuality, or your needs for this, or to eat at that time, or to do these and these things in order to connect and talk to them, right? And so you're starting to become resentful because you're doing all these things and they're not doing the things that you want them to do, right? So there's this feeling of depending on expectations for other people, and this feeling of dissatisfaction that's happening here. And here's where selflessness can ultimately ruin friendships, because if we're too selfless, if we're too focused on the other person, if we're too much focused on trying to give to other people, hoping that they will give back, often what ends up happening is we give until we have nothing left to give. And we keep wondering when they're eventually going to realize how much we've given, how much we've offered, and how little we've gotten in return. But all this happening is we're using up our own friendship budget, and ultimately that account runs empty and the friendship runs its course, right? When you develop extroverted feeling, what you're doing is you're not building codependent relationships. You're not building friendships that are unsatisfying. You're not building relationships that are ultimately focused on loss or draining or exhausting yourself, but you're building relationships that are mutually beneficial, relationships which inspire you, relationships which give you energy, relationships which motivate you, and relationships which also motivate the other person. And you do this by remembering to first use metta, gratitude, compassion for other people, but also by allowing yourself to be selfish, right? To constantly recognize, these are what I want, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to go. And you do this by saying things like, hey, where would you like to go eat? I would like to go eat there. Do you have any preferences, right? Because you're telling them your needs, you're saying what you kind of want, and you're also giving them the space to say what they want, right? And you do these things, and by doing these things, you create this opportunity, this space where it's like, okay, well, I want to go eat there, and that person wants to go eat there. And okay, if we go eat there, well, that person has to compromise to meet my needs, right? And so tomorrow we're going to have to go eat somewhere else, right? Or it's my turn to choose, and now it's their turn to choose, right? When extroverted feeling becomes more conscious, what ends up happening is you end up becoming more conscious of what your relationships mean to you, what your friendships mean to you, what you can get from different people, what different people have to offer you, what you can experience by being around other people, because you can experience a lot. The power of love and connection is incredible. It gives you these feelings, it helps you achieve these things, it puts you in this unique state that you could not achieve or could not accomplish on your own, right? We ultimately need friends, we need family, we need loved ones, we need people, we need intimacy, we need connection that really matters to us, right? So we have to, step one, become conscious of what kind of friendships we have in our lives and what kind of things these friendships and these connections mean to us. And third, we have to think about how we can create this space of mutual selfishness, this space where both people are allowed to be authentic, this space where both people are allowed to give room to and voice their own needs and feelings and set their own boundaries. I hope this video helped you both become more connected to the people that you already have in your life, but also hopefully to all those new people that you're gonna meet throughout your life. Thank you for watching. See you all in the next video.